question I'm trying to answer with this content is design work now obsolete when it comes to building software? And my short answer is I think it kind of is, which is crazy for someone like me to say. So, for my designers out there, and before you murder me in the comments, look, I have a ton of appreciation for what you do, and I don't consider myself to have those skills. Plus, they're crazy important. I feel like I'm one that can distinguish the difference between a good and a bad design. And again, I know how important that is. However, I don't really feel like I have the ability to create it myself all that easily or effectively. So, however, having said that, given what the capabilities are of tools like Lovable, I really think design has changed in a major way. This might be one of the areas that's had the most significant impact from AI or artificial intelligence when it comes to building software. Now, having said that, I think for the designers out there, especially, if you are thinking of these tools differently, as in not necessarily seeing them as a threat or a challenge, which I know they are, but thinking of how you may be able to leverage them yourself to kind of meet the world where it is, or more importantly, where it's going when it comes to building software, I think you can basically layer on some serious superpowers if you start leveraging these tools as effectively as you can. Now, Lovable is the example for myself for right now, which is just kind of like my favorite. There are others out there as well too. I've used Magic Patterns and V0. In fact, when I'm building my SaaS products these days, I have a tendency to kind of like workshop what I think my design requirements are for the UI or a couple of workflows, and then I'll upload that to all three at the same time because realistically, why not? And then I'll kind of see which one captures whatever my vision kind of is at the moment. And maybe I won't even have a whole lot of detail on that. And it can really help to see that when it actually produces it, which I know our designers out there are probably thinking like, yeah, that's a key part and an important element to this work. It's just tools like Lovable and their competitors, they've changed the way this works so dramatically. So if you haven't used Lovable, basically it is a AI tool that can help you with building front end work, design, does a lot of the coding. They can even help you build an entire app now just from a web browser. And it's all natural language interaction. So you can type in whatever it is you want to do into the Lovable tool. And in a few minutes, sometimes a few seconds, it will spin up something that looks crazy impressive. So obviously, because of how capable this thing is, it has exploded in popularity and it's everywhere now. And I'm using it extensively myself. In fact, it's a key part of what I consider to be my current and modern tech stack when it comes to leveraging basically the most of whatever AI tools are capable of today. I'm going to talk about my process and what my stack is and all the tools are in a future episode as well too, but I want to focus on this design element piece first. So to kind of round out this conversation, I mentioned that I feel like design work the way it was kind of obsolete, and I stand by that. But here's why I feel that way. So before, when we were workshopping solution design and coming up with what the software might look like, there was a key part of the process, which would be creating high fidelity or low fidelity or both designs before we went into doing the actual coding, and in particular the front end work, so that we knew kind of what the look and feel of an application was going to be. Again, the reason why I think that's not really necessary anymore is because Lovable and tools like it have essentially automated that. So now I can basically describe whatever it is I want. It can create something pretty impressive depending on how much detail you give it in basically a one-shot prompt. But you can keep going back and forth with it and workshop it as much as you want, just like you would with a designer, to not only produce the designs themselves, but a full interactive, essentially application at minimum, front end coding, language, design, even workflows, up to and including the entire application now, which is just, again, the hesitation you hear in my voice is like, I can't believe we are where we are. This is crazy and so cool all at the same time. So I'm leveraging it extensively. And if you're thinking about how design plays into kind of your process today, instead of like creating high fidelity, low fidelity, whatever, I would just skip ahead and go right to something like Lovable. Like describe what it is you're working on, the solution design aspect that you have in mind at the moment. For tools like Lovable, start there and see what it comes up with, and then just keep workshopping it until you feel like you get it close enough. That's essentially one of the earlier pieces of my solution design phase tech stack, and it's working remarkably well so far. So, anyway, I wanted to touch on the design element for today and the question that's probably coming up for some of you out there in terms of basically like, how much design work do I really need to do anymore? And my answer is not much.